So let me get this straight. The President of the United States just pulls off one of the most consequential foreign policy victories in a generation. Markets surging, oil prices collapsing, Iran's nuclear program buried in the dirt, the Strait of Hormuz reopening. And what does CNN do? CNN tries to pull off another hoax. A literal, bona fide, exposed fake news hoax. This isn't satire. It's not an exaggeration. This is exactly what happened. Stick with me at the very end of this video, because I'm going to show you exactly why this may be it. This may be the hoax that finally ends CNN once and for all. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you make sense of the fake news madness with real news and analysis. You're not going to get anywhere else. You know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. They did it again. As the world celebrated the extraordinary 2-week ceasefire that caused markets to surge and oil prices to implode, CNN, the single most distrusted name in fake news, ran yet another blatantly deceptive, fraudulent, fabricated fake news hoax. This time, it involved the supposed terms of ceasefire. CNN's live blog ran the headline, "Iran claims victory, says it forced U.S. to accept 10-point plan." This is from CNN World. It's their international outlet. And the piece reported that Iran's Supreme National Security Council declared that the United States caved, that the U.S. suffered what they called, quote, an undeniable, historic, and crushing defeat, and claimed Iran forced America to accept their demands. And those demands included lifting all sanctions, withdrawing U.S. forces from regional bases, and recognizing Iran's permanent control over the Strait of Hormuz. As you would have guessed, that was all, every bit of it, entirely and totally fake news. It was a fraud. It never happened. President Trump was absolutely livid over this. He took to Truth Social and he wrote, quote, "The alleged statement put out by CNN World News is a fraud, as CNN well knows. The false statement was linked to a fake news site from Nigeria, and of course immediately picked up by CNN and blared out as a legitimate headline." And he didn't stop there. CNN is being ordered to immediately withdraw this statement with full apologies for their, as usual, terrible reporting. And then came the kicker. Authorities are looking to determine whether or not a crime was committed on the issuance of the fake CNN World statement, or was it a sick rogue player? As of Wednesday morning, this morning, CNN has yet to issue a single retraction. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr wrote this, quote, "More outrageous conduct from CNN. Fake news is bad enough for the country, but pushing out a hoax headline in such a sensitive national security moment as this requires accountability." Iran put out an official statement that simply cannot be squared with the one CNN's false headline attributes to them. Time for change at CNN. Now, obviously, there is this investigation, but I think Carr is also telegraphing the upcoming merger with Paramount, where Paramount just acquired Warner Brothers that owns CNN. And Paramount is very, very Trump-friendly. They've been cracking down on CBS big time, and so Carr is basically giving them the green light. It's time to clean house at CNN as well. But it doesn't look like we'll have to wait for the Paramount acquisition for that. President Trump himself is launching a full-scaled investigation into what happened here precisely because of the risk that fake news hoax posed for national security. Again, Trump wrote, quote, "No one can believe that fake news CNN put out a knowingly false and dangerous statement pretending it came from the upper levels of the Iranian government. It didn't. It was totally made up and posted as a headline for purpose of perhaps inflaming a very delicate situation. It was a new troublemaking site from Nigeria, and CNN just got caught cheating, a very dangerous thing to do. Jay Galding said it best, quote, CNN is not a news outlet. It's a satirical anti-American propaganda outlet, and it needs to be labeled as such. For sure, that's very good. But as President Trump just made it clear, it's a lot worse than that. This is turning out to be a major national security issue, one that may end up finally bringing CNN down in the way it deserves. You're not going to want to miss this. But first, let me ask you, are you working just as hard as you always have, maybe even harder, but you feel like you're constantly falling behind? You know, you look at your grocery bill, your gas receipts, and your savings account, and you realize that no matter how much you make, the rising cost of everything just keeps eating it away. I mean, you're doing everything right, yet you're wondering, how am I ever going to get ahead? Well, here's the problem. The elites have designed it this way. They've created an economic system where inflation silently steals your wealth while they get richer. It's a treadmill that keeps you running faster just to stay in the same place, leaving you exhausted, frustrated, and anxious about your family's future. But what if you could step off their treadmill and build your own system? What if there was a way to build financial security for your family that doesn't require employees or customers or inventory or taking on a grueling second job? What if you could do it in just minutes a day or even minutes per week from anywhere you choose? Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Dr. Steve, that sounds way too good to be true. And I get it. I used to be just as skeptical about this stuff too, until I saw the proof with my own eyes. I realized that we've been conditioned to think that building wealth has to mean trading away all of our time. But here's what I've learned. Trading is actually the best business in the world when you do it the right way. And before you start thinking, wait, trading, it's too complicated and risky. Well, let me tell you, my good friend, Troy Noonan, the backpack trader, he spent 30 years perfecting a step-by-step approach that makes this accessible to everyday people like you and me. And I know it works because I'm actually a member of his program. Here's what makes Troy's approach different. He'll show you how to prove the system works for you before you risk a single penny of your hard-earned money in the markets. It's like a flight simulator, right? You get to see the results first before you risk a penny in the markets. It's amazing stuff. So if you're ready to see how this can play a massive role in not just protecting your wealth, but actively creating new wealth, giving you a real pathway to the bright, beautiful future and peace of mind your family deserves, go to backpacktrader.com/TurleyFreedom right now. Troy is hosting a special free live training called Backpack Trader Live exclusively for our community. It's on April 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And when you register, he'll instantly send you his 12 Powers to Successful Trading ebook packed with concepts no one else teaches, the ingredients that lead to successful trading. And when you show up to the training, you'll unlock an exclusive bonus you simply can't get anywhere else. The private replay of our Turley Roundtable. This was a rare closed-door event where Troy, myself, and real backpack trader patriots all sat down together. We took raw, unfiltered questions from guests, which sparked an incredibly enlightening discussion about exactly how everyday people are using the system to build real wealth and total freedom. It's an absolute masterclass, and hearing these insights will completely change how you look at your financial future. But the only way to get your hands on this powerful replay is by showing up to the Backpack Trader Live training. This is your chance to stop being a victim of their economic system and start building your own. Go to backpacktrader.com/turleyfreedom right now and reserve your spot for April 15th. That's backpacktrader.com/turleyfreedom. Your bright, beautiful future is waiting. Let's go get it. So while they have yet to retract that fraud, CNN did take the story down, which is a tacit admission that it was utter BS. But that almost certainly will not be enough, because this goes way beyond the embarrassment of being caught yet again intentionally pushing fake news. In the end, this is a national security issue. And I want you to really think about what CNN's fake headline could have done, because we were in the most delicate 12-hour window of this entire conflict. Seriously, the more I think about it, the more it makes my blood boil in terms of what they potentially did here. Picture the situation. So Trump has just announced a 2-week ceasefire. Iran's foreign minister has issued a very restrained, very compliant, very measured statement. Negotiations are scheduled for this Friday. The Strait of Hormuz is reopening. And then right in that window, CNN World blasts a headline to the entire planet saying that the U.S. caved. Trump caved, right? Taco, right? Trump always chickens out. Stupid, idiotic thing. Iran's celebrating, we're told, Iran's celebrating a crushing, historic defeat of the United States, and America has agreed to lift all sanctions. They're going to withdraw all forces and all the bases throughout the Gulf, and they're going to surrender total control of the Strait of Hormuz to Iran forever. Now, effing ask yourself, what message would that headline send to the people of Iran? What would that do to the Iranians who've been waiting for the green light to rise up? I mean, seriously, think about that. Just imagine what that sick headline written by the sycophants over at CNN would have meant to the tens of millions of Iranians hoping beyond hope that this was their moment to finally topple this regime with the help of the United States. What can you imagine? The gut punch. It gets worse. It gets a hell of a lot worse. Think about what that headline says to the hardliners who are still alive, the IRGC dead enders who don't want this deal. Think about the propaganda weapon that they could wield from that point forward against the more moderate forces. It tells the Iranian street that the regime is won. It makes it politically harder for Iran's pragmatic wing to hold the ceasefire, because now the hardliners could say, why should we give anything up? The Americans already capitulated. We won. Again, it gets worse. What does this do to America's allies in the region? Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Israel, all of whom are watching every signal from Washington, suddenly seeing a CNN headline suggesting Trump totally blinked, Trump completely caved. That creates doubt. That creates instability. That creates pressure on those governments to distance themselves from a deal that looks, on CNN's telling, like American surrender. And what does it do to the markets? A false report in a fragile ceasefire moment can spike oil. It can trigger algorithmic sell-offs and move billions in seconds. Words at the wrong moment, especially false ones, aren't just irresponsible. They're weapons. And CNN fired one. Carelessly, recklessly, and as it most likely turns out, deliberately. All so that they can hurt the one man they hate more than any living person on the planet. Disgusting. And so the Trump administration has all the justification on earth that they need to finally hold this ridiculous excuse for a news organization accountable. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on how things flesh out here. But at the very least, Paramount is being given the green light to clean house over at the most distrusted name in fake news, and finally bring an end to an organization that is to news what pigeons are to statues.